talking about the 21 myths of relaxation. At number 1, you need to avoid stress. Cecil, how do we do it?
Well, if you need to avoid stress, you might say, for example, well, I don't need to go to see the doctor and have my physical. So you avoid that. And if you avoid going to the doctor to get your physical, as you get older and older, there may be a lot of health issues that might come out of that. So you're saying, well, you need to avoid stress, and the stress is going to the doctor. Well, in reality, you need to go to the doctor to find if there's any issues that you need to deal with ahead of time. So you're actually stressing yourself out more. So the myth is that you think you shouldn't be going, but you should be going because of the health issues. If you take another example, going to the dentist is the same thing. You might say, well, if I go to the dentist, it's stressful because I don't know what's going to happen. But there's the myth again. It's important that you go to the dentist and you check your gums, you check your teeth, you make sure that they're fine. Not to realize that you might live, you don't know how long you're going to live, to discover later on that you don't have teeth or you have another health issue. So it's important. So what we're looking at here is we avoid these things naturally, but when we avoid them, there's more pain and suffering as a consequence. Not now, but as the years accumulate, as we get older and we live longer, we start to see the effects of these. Now, another issue may be paying taxes. You might decide you're a small business person, and you might decide, well, I'll put my taxes off. There again, because you don't want to deal with the stress and have the accountant in and file the papers, get the stuff together. But you're saying, well, you need to avoid it. But in reality, that's just a myth again. The reality is you've got to submit your tax. You got to pay your tax to the government. Otherwise, somebody's going to come after you. Sooner or later, it might take you 5, 10 years, but sooner or later, it's going to catch up with you. So the whole myth is that we think we need to avoid these things because we think they're stressful. In reality, when we do what needs to be done, whether it's going to the doctor, or whether it's going to a dentist, or to paying tax, when we do that, we find that we are more relaxed. We are more at peace with ourselves. When we put our head on a pillow at night, we feel more comfortable. So the myth is that's what the myth is. The myth is you think you need to avoid it, but when you do it and face up to it, the reality is that it becomes very relaxing, it becomes peace of mind, you're more serene, you have more time with your family. But if you keep on putting things off and saying, well, it's going to be stressful, and I don't want to deal with it, and you can look at any aspect of your life and say, well, whether it's about money, whether it's about family, whether it's about, more importantly, your health. I think that's more important because I work with the heart and stroke and cancer patients in the hospital, and I see how many of them put things off. I see 29-year-old men and women in the hospital. I see 40-year-old young people in the hospital with strokes and heart attacks. And when I talk to them, because I teach relaxation in the hospital by the bedside, when I talk to them, they're like, well, man, I never thought I would be in here. I never thought I would have to slow down. But the myth is, if you keep on going all the time, that you would avoid everything and you would get what you want. The reality is, the myth is, that's not going to happen. You could end up with a heart attack. You can end up with a stroke. You can have all kinds of health issues because the body can only take so much. As soon as the body has had enough and you don't pay attention, you start to see manifestations in the body.
Is it hard for a lot of people to realize this until they're actually laying in a hospital bed?
Yep, from my experience. I'm also a product of it too, because when I came to Canada, I went and got my degree from the university. I actually forsake everything my grandmother taught me and the people in Barbados taught me for the almighty dollar.
And so what was the difference between your teachings in Barbados as opposed to here in Canada?
Well, here in Canada, it was after I went to university, I became inculcated with the idea that you got to go after the almighty dollar. You got to make the big buck. So for me, it was work and money. Nothing else really mattered. That's not what I was taught in. That's not what I was taught in Barbados.
What were you taught there?
I was taught that you need to live a balanced life. Money was not the be-all and end-all. Work was not the be-all and end-all. You need to have a balanced situation. So I went to two extremes. One was work, and the other one was seeking the money. And I did make the money, and I got everything I wanted, and I went bankrupt, and I got divorced. That's when I spun around now and did revert to what my grandmother taught me. So I'm actually a product of the process.
Yeah.
So I've experienced, this is what I've experienced personally.
So that's step number 1 is you need to avoid stress.
Right.
Is it possible for us to do it, really?
Yes, it is.
With all that's going on, families, work, husbands, wives, you can avoid it?
Well, you don't really avoid it. What I basically do is I provide you with tools to deal with it because it's going to happen stress is going to happen. As long as you're living, it's going to happen.
So you just need to know how to deal with it properly.
Yes. The secret is to have the tools to deal with it. And the issue I have with my students is I teach them the tools, and some of them only use the tools 10% of the time, and they're doing pretty well. And they only use the tools 10% of the time.
Yeah.
So the issue is not only is to have something that's not only to have tools, but to have tools that are practical, meaning that you can use these tools anywhere, anytime. That's the challenge. Most people, they have the tools, but they got to wait till they get home, or they got to go to a special place to do it. The tools that we provide are tools that allow you to do it in the moment.
If you really enjoy this video, then you will also enjoy the 7 pitfalls of not being able to slow down.